Yesterday, I posted a short video about people calling Richard Dawkins a racist for saying that he prefers the sound of church bells to the sound of Allahu Akbar. I received a number of comments from viewers along the lines of, "David, why are you helping Richard Dawkins? Don't you know he hates all religion?" "No, I've been living on Mars for 15 years. What does Dawkins believe again?" When Dawkins says something stupid or false, I'm all for pointing it out. In fact, I'm currently putting together a video titled "Comfortably Dumb, the Ballad of the New Atheists," in response to Dawkins' absurd methodology. But it's never crossed my mind that just because I disagree with someone on some issues, even extremely important foundational issues, I should therefore keep quiet when morons call him a racist for a tweet that had absolutely nothing to do with race. In other words, I reject the idea that if I disagree with someone on one issue, I have to disagree with him on everything and keep quiet while a mob buries him in false charges. Shortly after I posted my video, I noticed a related discussion unfolding on Twitter, a discussion that initially seemed like a breath of fresh air, but quickly turned into a nauseating stench. David Rubin tweeted, "So, Mark Duplass said something remotely nice about Ben Shapiro and is now trending because of the outrage machine. All the people reveling in this should know the mob will come for them too one day, if they dare have an original thought." And the message he's referring to from Mark Duplass reads, "Fellow liberals, if you are interested at all in crossing the aisle, you should consider following Ben Shapiro. I don't agree with him on much, but he's a genuine person who once helped me for no other reason than to be nice. He doesn't bend the truth. His intentions are good." As it turns out, telling a leftist mob that Ben Shapiro has good intentions is a bit like telling a swarm of bees that the guy who just kicked their nest has good intentions. A swarm of bees, like a swarm of leftists on Twitter, is too stupid to understand intentions. You see, the leftist mob doesn't want to cross the aisle. Instead, they want to, dare I say it, build a wall. Not surprisingly, Mark Duplass was bombarded with abuse. Did he stand his ground? Of course not. Standing your ground requires a spine, and Mark Duplass is apparently part jellyfish. Hence, he responded to the backlash with this pusillanimous prattle. "So, that tweet was a disaster on so many levels. I want to be clear that I in no way endorse hatred, racism, homophobia, xenophobia, or any such form of intolerance. My goal has always been to spread unity, understanding, and kindness, but I am going to make mistakes along the way. Sometimes I move too quickly when I get excited, or fail to do enough research, or I don't communicate myself clearly. I'm really sorry. I now understand that I need to be more diligent and careful. I'm working on that, but I do believe deeply in bipartisan understanding, and I will continue to do my best and promote peace and decency in this world right now. That said, I hear you, and I want to say thank you to those who reached out with constructive criticism. I have genuinely learned so much and wish everyone all the best. Mark Duplass." Notice I had to take a screenshot of a Word document for my apology because 280 characters wasn't enough for all my blubbering. Do you forgive me? Predictably, the apology of Mr. Duplass was taken seriously by no one and ridiculed by vertebrates everywhere. At least have the guts to say you were bullied into this. We all saw it happen. Acting like this was just people giving you constructive criticism makes you look doubly worse. "People got so mad that I felt I had to take it back" is the only truthful thing you could have said. You initially mentioned he helped you in the past for no other reason than to be nice. And you disown such a person for peer pressure and career reasons rather than showing backbone and sticking up for your convictions? Sad. What's it like to stand for nothing? Wait, so Ben Shapiro doesn't have good intentions anymore because your followers said so? Where's the bipartisan understanding? And Ben Shapiro added, so, in 24 hours, I apparently went from being a person with good intentions to a racist, sexist bigot. Twitter toxifies any attempt to cross the aisle. There's no conservative Mark could have recommended who wouldn't receive the same blowback. Interestingly, as Mark Duplass was busy sacrificing his integrity on the altar of political correctness, so was Richard Dawkins. After his tweet about preferring the ringing of church bells to shouts of Allahu Akbar became international news, Dr. Dawkins walked back his bell preference with this. The call to prayer can be hauntingly beautiful, especially if the muezzin has a musical voice. My point is that Allahu Akbar is anything but beautiful when it is heard just before a suicide bomb goes off. That is when Islam is tragically hijacked by violence. So, he's just sad that the hauntingly beautiful Allahu Akbar has been hijacked by violence. Of course, I can't help but point out that Allahu Akbar was hijacked by the founder of Islam himself. Ibn Ishaq, page 511. One whom I do not suspect told me from Anas bin Malik, when the apostle raided a people, he waited until the morning. If he heard a call to prayer, he held back. If he did not hear it, he attacked. We came to Khaybar by night, and the apostle passed the night there. And when morning came, he did not hear the call to prayer. So he rode, and we rode with him. And I rode behind Abu Talha with my foot touching the apostle's foot. We met the workers of Khaybar coming out in the morning with their spades and baskets. When they saw the apostle and the army, they cried, Muhammad with his force, and turned tail and fled. The apostle said, Allah Akbar, Khaybar is destroyed. When we arrive in a people's square, it is a bad morning for those who have been warned. So, when Muhammad and his army showed up to a town, they would wait until morning and listen for the call to prayer. If they heard Allahu Akbar, they would know that there were Muslims in the town, so they would hold back. But if they didn't hear Allahu Akbar, they would attack. Khaybar was a Jewish settlement, and in the passage we just read, Jewish workers were heading to the fields when they saw Muhammad and ran. Were these Jewish men and women soldiers marching out to battle? No, they were ordinary civilians going about their daily lives. Muhammad shouted Allahu Akbar and attacked. Muhammad and his followers killed anyone who resisted them. They took the women and girls as sex slaves, and they forced those who remained to pay half of their annual produce as jizya. 14 centuries later, Richard Dawkins has to say that his only problem with the hauntingly beautiful Allahu Akbar is that it's been hijacked by violence. This is your champion, atheists? This is the guy who's going to defend you and keep you safe from religion? Disturbingly, every time I post a video commenting on political issues, viewers ask, David, why are you talking about this instead of something else? Why do you care about Richard Dawkins or Mark Duplass cowering in fear of a mindless mob? Well, it's pretty simple, really. The same ever-expanding horde that just brought Dawkins and Duplass to their knees is also endlessly harassing not just Twitter users, but Twitter itself. Not just Facebook users, but Facebook itself. Not just YouTube users, but YouTube itself. Demanding that these companies enforce rules against hate speech, where hate speech is any speech that the leftist mob doesn't approve of. If you think that YouTube and Facebook and Twitter are going to stand their ground as the mob presses in on all sides, you haven't been paying attention. The only reason these companies tolerate you at all right now is that it's more profitable to tolerate you right now. Once that changes, once the mob is so massive that it becomes more profitable to do what it demands, the internet giants will drop you faster than Mark Duplass dropped that bridge he was building.